So I recently saw the video of a 37-year-old LeBron flying down the lane and just dunking on one of his teammates in preseason practice for the Lakers. And it definitely got me rethinking my life decisions. But I also remembered that he spends close to $1 million a year on his body. So although he has amazing genetics, it's no surprise and no coincidence that he happens to still be able to perform at this level even at his age. But we're seeing more and more professional athletes playing at a very high level much later into their careers, such as, Cristiano Ronaldo, Tom Brady, Messi, and they're getting older, but they're still able to maintain their level of performance. During the season, it is very easy to neglect your recovery just because of the amount of games and practices, as well as the rest of your life that you have to deal with. Recovery might be the last thing on your mind. But your ability to recover both during games and in between games and practices is going to be a major factor when it comes to success or failure later on in the game or in late game situations. Additionally, the older we get, the longer it starts to take to recover in between games. So the younger you are, the earlier you really want to start implementing this type of recovery work so that as you do age, it doesn't affect any of your routine and you can continue to maintain that high level of performance. And let's remember that even though someone like LeBron, who is still performing at the top level, he's starting to get more injuries over the past couple of seasons. So if he's not exempt from it, then neither are we. So what's the best way to optimize your recovery during the season? If you want a cheat code to recovery, I'm gonna give it to you right now. It's one word: sleep. Just sleep more, get more sleep. Athletes notoriously do not sleep enough because either we want to train so hard, we've got to wake up 4 a.m. workouts like team no sleep, etc. Or we're just messing around and we just don't get enough sleep in the first place. Sleep is the key. If you want a secret sauce, forget everything else you know about recovery. If you just slept more, I guarantee you will see improvements in your performance. Why? One, because our body repairs itself whilst we sleep. I'm not going to go into the science of what happens, but essentially that's just what happens whilst we sleep. So physically, we repair. Mentally, we repair. We're able to regain our consciousness, our subconscious starts to work. We start to remember things. If you've been in practice and you're running plays and sets and you have to remember details, well, that's when your mind starts to actually process that stuff and make it ingrained in your brain. So it's helping you perform and remember what you need to do. But it also helps you focus more in your games as well because you're well rested, so you can actually pay attention. So there's so many more benefits to sleeping. So if you are undersleeping, which a lot of people probably are, just get more sleep. To get more sleep, put yourself into a routine. Make sure that you are going to sleep at the same time and you're waking up at the same time every day. Try and cut out blue light. So a lot of our screens like laptops, TVs, phones, they emit blue light into our eyes. So we want to try and cut out blue light maybe 1 to 2 hours before we go to bed. I know it's weird. It's not really something that a lot of us are used to doing, especially if you're younger. But if you can get into that routine now, you'll start to sleep better and you will reap the rewards from it. There are so many studies. I've said this in so many videos that I've made, but there are just too many studies that have proven the advantage of sleep over undersleeping. So just get sleep. And in terms of how much sleep you want to get, 6 to 8 hours minimum. That's the minimum we should be aiming for. But if you can get more, then get more, because it's only going to help you be better. Now, obviously I said that whilst we are sleeping, our body repairs itself, but it can only repair itself if it has the nutrients to repair itself. So our nutrition is also the second major key when it comes to our in-season recovery. We want to make sure that we're getting all the right nutrients and minerals we need for our body to repair itself so that we can perform again in games. Now, obviously I know that a lot of us that train, we're aware protein is great for us. Protein has all its benefits, so we need to make sure we're hitting our protein intake goals. And a general guideline for how much protein to eat is for every kilogram that you weigh, you should be eating half a gram of protein. So if you weigh 100 kilograms, for example, you should be eating 50 grams of protein per day. But that doesn't mean we should be running away from other nutrient sources. Carbs are going to be key for us to be able to perform, especially during the season. So during the season, we might actually want to make sure we get more carbs, especially when it comes to before games, even after games as part of our recovery process. Because carbs are the main fuel source for any sort of movement and activity that we do, we want to replace any carbs that we lose in the process of playing sports. So we want to make sure we get those carbs in too. But there are also a whole load of other nutrients and minerals we want to get. So having a balanced diet is key. Using an extra multivitamin might be necessary as well. Make sure you go outside and get your vitamin D from the sun, go on walks outside, maybe using red light as well, because red light is also very good for our recovery too, because it starts to release chemicals in our body that also start the recovery processes internally as well. There's a reason why red light therapy is a thing. When the sun rises and sun sets, it starts to emit a lot of red wave radiation to the earth. Earth, so a lot of red light comes during sunrise and sunset hours. So if you're gonna go for a walk to try and get vitamin D, it's also a good idea to go during those sunrise or sunset hours to benefit from the red light too. Also, when we play sports, our joints take a lot of pounding. So we wanna make sure that our joints are healing too and we're getting the right nutrients to our joints. And one big thing when it comes to joints is that a lot of the ligaments and tendons are made up of collagen. So you wanna try and get a nutrient supplement that contains collagen. And I use one called The Joint by MyProtein. And essentially, again, not a sponsored video, I really need to get these sponsors or affiliate links up, man. But essentially, collagen, once you take it's a pill, and you take the pill, it's gonna send the collagen to your necessary joints. But the reason I use this one is because it has a UC2 standardized collagen, which is the type of collagen that you would find in joints, but also it has vitamin C in it as well. And vitamin C helps bind the collagen to the joint so that it actually fuses with the tendons and starts that healing process more efficiently. And now I'm going to go into the typical type of recovery methods. So I call them acute recovery methods. Acute just means kind of short term, and this is stuff like foam rolling, icing, stretching. So these are all things that during the season I think are very beneficial because we want to do things that make us feel better. And when it comes to acute recovery methods, I think the first thing that we need to go for before anything else is parasympathetic breathing. And that's essentially breathing out for longer than you breathe in for. What that does is allows your body to start to calm itself down and begin the process of recovery because you're essentially slowing down your nervous system. Now, if you don't have time to do anything else during the season, after a session or a game or tough practice, do this breathing. And you can do this literally whilst you're sitting down, you can lay down, you can be driving home, whatever it is. It just takes like 3 minutes, just breathing in for maybe 5 seconds, out for 10 seconds, and just repeat and just go for 3 minutes doing that. And that's going to basically automatically start the process of the recovery in your body. It's kind of like a cheat code. You're hacking your nervous system in a way to start its recovery process. Foam rolling, it feels nice most of the time. I mean, it's a bit painful during the process, but it will tend to make you feel a bit looser after. Icing, if you have a sore area, it's sore because there's probably inflammation there. So when you use something that's got a cold temperature, it restricts the blood flow, reduces the inflammation, and then once you take the ice off, then it will allow more blood to go in there. And if you've got the right nutrients in there, then that's gonna start the healing process. And just on a note, when it comes to icing, I would also recommend using ice and heat at the same time. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can get something like this. There are these kind of sleeves that you can get on Amazon. Mine's by Abco Sport. This is not a sponsored video, but it probably should be. And essentially, it's got a sleeve and you would put like a gel pack inside of it. And the gel pack, it's hot, cold, so you can get multiple of these. I've got 4. I keep 2 in the freezer, and then I keep 2 at room temperature. So the ones in the freezer, I can just use for icing whenever I want to, and then the ones at room temp, I can just take out, put them in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and then I can use them for heat. And the reason you can use the heat immediately after the icing, or maybe leave it like 5 to 10 minutes, but use it afterwards because it will speed up that process of opening the blood vessels again to get the nutrients through. I've personally found that using the combination of ice and heat is a lot better than just using ice alone. Even before a game, using the heat alone is actually quite beneficial to get ready for the game. Then when it comes to recovery during the season, we also want to make sure that we have active recovery days or maybe prehab type days. So if you have a game day or a practice day, it's going to be super intense or something. The next day, we want to make sure that we're doing some sort of active recovery so that we can, get blood flow to the body to make sure that it heals better, but also to keep on activating those muscle groups at the same time so that we're always primed to go during the season. Active recovery can kind of look like anything. For example, if you did a weight room session and you did like a whole load of squats, maybe you did 5 sets of like 10 squats, for example, like heavy squats, you could actually do active recovery by maybe just going back to the gym, but just doing 2 sets of 10 squats instead of 5. And maybe you're doing it at like 60% of the weight rather than doing the weight that you were doing on the lifting day. The reason that that's effective is because essentially you're going through the exact same motion that puts stress on your body. But because you're doing it at a lighter weight, but still with enough weight to activate the muscle, you're essentially signaling to your body and your blood vessels that this particular movement causes stress on my body, so we need more blood flow in this movement. But you're not causing enough stress that you're gonna feel sore afterwards. All you're doing is getting more blood flow to that area to make it recover. So that's one method of active recovery, but I much prefer to use isometrics as a form of active recovery. Reason being, isometrics are proven to have an analgesic effect. Analgesic just means healing. So if there's something that has a proven healing effect, why wouldn't I use that for recovery? Because when I recover, I'm trying to heal. So I like to go through a range of different isometric exercises in the lower body and maybe some upper body as well, so that I can benefit from this analgesic effect, and any sort of full range of motion bodyweight type movements as well. Similar to what I said before about going back and doing the same type of exercises, is just to make sure that there's blood flow throughout the whole movement and you're essentially covering all bases. Then you also just need to do whatever else helps you relax. So personally for me, I like to swim. So I will just swim because I find it relaxing, but some people might find swimming stressful. Some people might not know how to swim, whatever it is. So if you didn't like swimming, then you wouldn't do swimming. But you know, if you like to just listen to music, do that. Just anything that actually helps you relax. Check the description below for a free vertical jump workout at www.elitesmartathletes.com. If you like this breakdown, then check out the video that's about to come up on screen, which is all about managing ankle pain during the season. And you might as well subscribe whilst you're at it too. But until next time, stay blessed.